Yo, hello people. Apologies for being late. The Wi-Fi was playing up. It's working now. We're at 100%. I wasn't able to get in. I just need to double check that Dave's around. So hold on 1 second. Not sure if I'm even live. All right, someone's just yelled out and said, I'm live. Morning, everyone. Oh, good. Thanks, Dave. Apologies, mate. Many apologies. But we'll get there. So today we have the interview with David Digby from Two Digbys and One Indian. And I wanted to just share with you guys his channel. I think David is one of those guys out there that is underappreciated in my view. And I really believe that he is a motorcyclist that lives motorcycles. And when I first met David on YouTube, I was like, this guy is great. It's absolutely fantastic. He only had a few subscribers. I loved his humor. I loved the way that he interacted with the camera. Even if there was nobody out there, basically, he interacted with the camera. He's got a better following on Facebook, but the YouTube is growing, and it's been people like Eric from Kraken's Garage and Adventures that have assisted and helped with his channel. I had the pleasure of meeting David when I went to Perth, and he took me around to the Indian motorcycle shop, and we had a good yarn, good chat, and he's very similar to myself. A musician, motorcyclist, and somebody with great humor. So without further ado, if David, you would like to click the link that I gave you the other day and get on up here, let's do this. I don't even know what my sound's like at the moment. How is the... Okay, that looks all right. G'day, Chewy. Yeah, Dave, you need to click the link to come on in. You're not sitting in the background. I'll put it in the chat, mate. The link's for David, everyone. So don't click on the link. It's for David. Hey, Benno. Good to see you, mate. Do a quick roll call. MSG came in earlier. I'm not sure if he's still around. Cowboy Car Crashing, obviously. Good to see you, mate. Obviously, Dave, Breach Queen. No Contrast. The Process. Bold Bucket. Biker's Wife. Rambo and Dino. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Good to see you guys. Haven't seen you for a while. Rambo and Dino. I just wanted to, waiting for you to add me. You're not in the back there, David. You need to go back in. You're not sitting in the waiting lounge. G'day, Inchy Punk. G'day, Sax. Don't stress about it, mate. If you click that link that I just put in the chat there, David, it should bring you in. There should be no issue with it. G'day, Ross. How you going? Ziggy. Here we go.
All righty.
There you are.
Technology.
How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm all right. Sorry about that earlier, buddy.
That's all right. I thought maybe you'd lost all connection or something up there.
Yeah, sometimes the Wi-Fi plays up. It was playing up earlier, and I was rebooting it, trying to get it working again. And then it took a while for it to reboot. It's not the laptop; it's definitely the Wi-Fi. But it looks like we've got good signal, mate. So that's good.
Oh, my picture's not coming up, so that's probably a good thing. So I'm not...
You got to turn your camera on.
It's let's have a look. Cam. Okay, here we go. Oh shit!
Hey, there we are.
Jesus, no close-ups, please.
That's cool, mate. That's cool.
Welcome everyone.
This is David Digby.
Hey.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, so I've got the questions ready for you.
Let's hope I've got some answers.
If there's anyone in the chat that wants to ask David any questions, then shoot and let us know. I've got the questions on one side of my screen, and I can read your comments on the phone. Have you got your iPad with you as well?
Yeah, mate, I have. I've got it down in front, so I'm ready to go.
All right, sweet. Awesome. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two Digby's One Indian. It's David Digby on the other side, on that side there. Lives in Perth, which is in Western Australia, so he's another fellow West Australian. I guess we'll start with, are you originally from Western Australia?
No. Don't hold it against me. I'm a Victorian.
Oh, a Mexican. So
yeah,
am I. Whereabouts in Mexico?
I was born in Greensboro when it used to be country.
Where's Greensboro?
What's it close to? Wanturna. Not that far from Doncaster. No. Where were you then?
Are
you sure you're from Victoria? In Dandenong. Oh, right. Well, yeah. Well, Greensboro used to be the country town. It's all city now, obviously, but I'm just trying to think where else. I mean, yeah. Yeah, Box Hill. You must know. You must know Box Hill.
Box Hill. So that's up in Melbourne.
Yeah, but probably about 20, 30 minutes from there.
Right.
But okay. I grew up in Box Hill, East Burwood.
And when did you leave Victoria? When did you jump the state border?
Right. Yeah. Well, we did a bit of travelling in the old combi van, and we travelled a bit of Australia. And Mum and Dad came over here and settled here when they retired. So we came over and bobbered them. Fell in love with the place. I think that was about 1989, and got married here in 1990. Travelled some more, realised how good Perth was, and came back in 95. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have you been married?
38 years this year.
38 years.
Yeah. Wow. You've seen her. You obviously know I've married an older woman.
Is she far enough away not to be able to reach you?
She's going to be a special guest. She'll come over and say hello. I'm gonna let her speak today.
That's awesome. That's one thing that I love about your relationship with Jax is this humor that comes across on the camera. You know, I think if the people didn't realize that you two are actually playing off each other, they would think that you're a misogynistic prick.
You got the prick right.
Oh, I love it. Awesome.
Yeah, we're lucky. We've got that yin and yang going, I think.
Oh yeah, I think it's fantastic. I just love it, and I love that that video that you posted with her on the floor worrying about the bike. That was great.
Well, I picked a bit of ideas of things here and there. I mean, and my mind's always active. I always want to do something different, and as we're going to talk later about, you know, the vlogging and different things, it's you've got to come up with some new stuff and just try and make it somewhat entertaining, as well as just keep doing what you're passionate about.
Well, you're definitely passionate about Indians, and I saw a question there. Oh, Anonymous Biker USA is in the house. So have you heard of Anonymous Biker USA?
I can't say I have, but I have now, and I have promised that I'm going to go through this later, and as we all support each other, I'll be subbing to these guys if they've, you know, got an active YouTube going on.
Well, he writes as Scout, and he also has Kawasaki. What's the full bagger? The Kawasaki.
Vulcan or something.
Yeah, I think it's the Vulcan. He'll correct me in the chat if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So he's also part of the Indian motorcycle world. So it's a group that was started by a bloke called Dazzle Rebel Rides from the UK. And everybody that's there in that group rides an Indian. And Brandon Bicasso is one of those guys. And you've got also the Adventures of the Bearded Bobber. You've got Christopher Lawson from NEPA. You've got Jay Fast. You've got Dazzle Rebel Rides. You've got the Star Bobber, Ricky Not So Martin. All these Indian guys are in this Indian motorcycle world, and I'm going to be asking whether they can induct you into this world as well. It's a fantastic place to be. It's just a Discord chat, but you get to talk with the Indian ambassadors that are over there in the States. And you know, just interact with guys that have and girls that have a similar interest in Indian. But I think,
haven't you ever heard that saying, Nathan?
What's that?
I don't want to be a member of any club that will accept me. Sorry to cut you short.
But I love.
Yeah, they have a big ambassador thing over in America. Unfortunately, it's fallen short here in Australia.
Yeah, it has, and I think the two riders that I think that should be the first ones that ever become the Indian ambassador for Australia is yourself and Chris Keeble.
Oh, Chris, yeah. I was going to mention. I think Chris was going to hop on board, or was going to try and hop on board this morning. She's an absolute trooper. You know, she's struggled recently, especially with all this COVID, because being an event manager and in the music industry, it's just knocked everything right off the shelf.
Yeah. But she's absolutely awesome. I mean, her bike is just amazing. I don't know how she rides it with all that weight on it.
Yeah, I actually got to. Yeah, I could say the same, I suppose. I finally got to see the bike in the flesh in Sydney when I'm away on my trip around Australia last year, and I'd seen the pictures and all the rest of it, but I'd never actually got to see it up close. And there's just you could spend probably 30, 40 minutes just going around the bike and spotting. Oh, she put that there, that's there, and that's from that, and that's from that, and that's from that, and that's from her trip there, and that guy gave her that. The whole bike is a story in itself.
It is indeed. Anonymous says, I'm an Indian step ambassador. Indian step.
Okay, what's that?
He's got a very weird sense of humor, Anonymous. He likes bromances, a lot of bromances. Yeah, a Vulcan Voyager, that's what he's got.
Oh, I got the Vulcan right, yep.
Yep. So Biker's wife asked a question earlier. She said, why did you go with Indian and not a Harley Davidson?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. I think that question's been avoided a few times on me. I came back to riding, just briefly, I came back to riding about 11, 12 years ago after riding. My first bike was a Honda CB 250N.
Thank you. That was going to be my next question.
Sorry, jump in that. So. But I had a little mishap on that, and I don't know. It wasn't because of that, but I bought it off. So, to answer directly is, I didn't want what everybody else wanted or had, and I had the Honda Shadow. For 1 week, I had the Suzuki Boulevard, the Cruiser one, for 1 week. Did not suit me at all. Jax was sitting up just about on my shoulders. I never felt comfortable on that thing. Great bike, but just it wasn't for me. And then I got the Royal Star Yamaha Tour Deluxe. And then I'd spotted the Indian on some promos. They were just starting to come out, the 13s and 14 in 2013, 14s, 14s when they were selling and the 13s when they sort of made them. And I saw the blue Springfield, and I won't lie, I was drooling over the photo of the tan leather, how they'd set it up. It was just, I thought, I'll never be able to have a bike like that. And I couldn't get it in the 2014, so I had to wait to 2015. Unfortunately, a brand new one popped up out of nowhere. But yeah, bottom line is that I just didn't want what everybody else had. So
have you ever ridden a Harley?
Yes, yeah, I've ridden a few. Road Kings, a CBO, Springer. A guy at work had one that his father-in-law gave him. Really beautiful. 5Ks down the road, I wanted to come back. It was just so uncomfortable and so just rattling all that. But geez, it looked fantastic.
So you got back to riding about 11, 12 years ago. Your first bike was 250 Honda?
Yeah, when I was in my late teens and 20s. Yep.
Right. And what was your second bike? You mentioned it wasn't a Suzuki Boulevard. It was
the Honda Shadow.
The Honda Shadow.
But I'll be blatantly honest. My next bike that I got here just to go to work and back was a Sim Scooter 250.
Well, Kraken will love you. Kraken likes scooters. Have you heard the story about Kraken? He bought a scooter on the other side of America, and he gets on it and he rides it all the way back to the other side on a scooter.
And what was it, 200, 250 or?
Oh, I don't even think it was that. I think it was a 175. He'll tell us here in the chat.
Yeah. Geez, I'm just looking down here. There's holy crap. There's 20. it's really not. I'm getting a little bit shell shocked here. I hope I'm not missing anyone's questions. I'm looking down. I didn't realise.
155. It was a 155 cc.
Oh. Well, mate.
He rode it from one side to the other. And he tells the story about how he pulled up at a fuel stop. I think I've got the story right. Pulls up at a fuel stop and he gets laughed at by this guy on a motorbike. And he just shares that a lot of people will make fun of you when you're riding something like that. But he didn't really realize that Eric's owned motorbikes all his life and ridden all his life. And there's probably more of a motorbike, what do you call it, aficionado than what the guy was on this Harley Davidson pulling up at the... He was a weekend rider, whereas Eric rides for life, basically.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I see Anonymous Biker is running around the chat, making sure that he's well known by everybody. He reckons that I'm scintillating in this shade of blue.
I'm just trying to look through. I wanted to just give a quick shout out to. I noticed Nick came online. Nick Contrast is his YouTube. He's in Sydney, and I've been following him for a little while now, and vice versa. He's once again he does things a little bit differently because he works around. He takes his work with him on his computer. So and he just vlogs all these trips. So yeah. So anyone, all the guys there, have a look out for Nick. He's got 200. Nick Connor. He's got a few 200 odd subscribers, and does some really cruisy videos. And has a lot of knowledge about the areas he goes to. But anyway, so just a shout out to Nick. Thanks for coming on board, mate.
I subscribed him to the other day when you mentioned it on your video. Yeah.
Plus he said you both look way younger, so I think that deserves a.
I'm not sure what he's saying. Is he suggesting that we're older than what we are?
Yeah. You're a half cup empty, aren't you?
So you had a scooter. So how long did you have the scooter for?
Well, I was just riding it to work and back, which is literally 10 minutes away. I think I had it for 12 months or more, and I used to take the piss out of everyone, sort of, turn up, and I'd put on some tough levers and turn up on my sim scooter at work and say, let's go down. I hope this doesn't go anywhere. Let's go down to the Hells Angels Club and park out the front and yell obscene things to them and take off.
Did you ever do it?
Down barriers, they might take a little while to start the bike, so I have a head start.
Well, they are Harley Davidsons, so it's all the same, aren't we?
Hands up.
Is that a bike behind you?
Oh, I've got Dark Horse.
Oh. That's a sheet or something.
No, it's a huge banner.
Oh, okay.
Massive banner. I've got a few that may have gone in the bin when the big shop closed here.
You might have got some of them.
Well, they fall on the ground outside. It's you got to pick them up. It's littering.
You got to look after them.
Exactly. So I've got a massive collection of Indian stuff. I could open my own shop, I think.
Well, I was just going to go to that because every time I see you, you are wearing something Indian. You promote the brand. You probably promote the brand every single day of your life, don't you?
I think so, and it's not because I want anything out of it or I want pats on the back or anything like that. I only wear the stuff they got which is good quality. I wouldn't buy the stuff if it was crap. This is a bloody great shirt, and I got few T-shirts, you know, the hats. I have to say probably most of the hats have been given to me by the shops, or the T-shirts. Perth gave me a T-shirt down at Kenwick that we went to that day. And I got a few T-shirts on the way on the trip around Australia. It was a few of the shops actually, while I was vlogging them, they just said, you know, Tamworth, you know, places like that, handed out T-shirts. So it was really good. But yeah, I mean, the brand's fantastic. It has its problems like everybody else. But overall, I mean, I wouldn't ride anything else now. It's not a chance in the world.
So moving on to, still on the motorbikes, how many motorcycles have you owned, and how many Indians have you owned?
Right. So only about six bikes all up, and 2 Indians. My last.
All right. So what was the first Indian? You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
You bought it in 2015.
Yeah. It was the 2014. It was they brought out the blue, the black, the red on their first Polaris lot. And a guy over here had the red one and had the first Roadmaster. And I rang up, we didn't have a shop here. So I rang up the shop in Melbourne, and he said, I wanted a blue. I'm a blue man. I love my blue. And he said, mate, all gone. Not a hope and a chance of getting that one. He rang me up a few months later, and he said, you're not going to believe this. Now Scott, I'm still friends with on Facebook. He was one of the top salesmen in Melbourne. And they literally went into the casino part like 7-8 months after Polaris came out. And this bike was sitting on a lazy Susan, you know, the cassette where they display the things you're going to win. Been sitting there for 7 months. And brand new. And he said, you're not going to believe this. He said, it's brand new Springfield blue. And he said, Dave, if I put it on the floor, it's gone. And he allowed me to put a deposit on, a refundable deposit, and have a think about it. So I got Jackie in a weak moment. She was coming back. She was doing FIFO then. She was coming back, and she was just like tired. And I said, I've got it. She said, oh, that's nice. I said, beautiful. Good. That's good enough for me. Yeah, and flew over and got it and rode back.
So you bought this motorbike in Melbourne, basically sight unseen, really.
There she is.
Absolutely beautiful, eh?
Yeah. Jack did that up for me, and that was on the Nullarbor on the way back.
You flew over to Melbourne.
Yep.
You hopped on it, and you rode back.
Yep.
4,000 kilometres.
Pretty much, yeah.
Had you prepared yourself before you took on that step?
No, would be the quick answer. I had done bugger all long distance riding. I think I went up to Kalbarri on the Yamaha Royal Star. That was my epic ride. And
what's that? 300 Ks?
No, Kalbarri's just under 600.
Okay.
And yeah, you're right. I got to sit on one that a guy had in Bustleton, and he let me ride it around. It was red. It was dirty because the Bustleton was lots of bugs and everything and all that sort of stuff, but you just felt something about it. And I must admit, visually was what I went for, which is great, but if it's not comfortable and if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't end up the right bike. But fortunately, we blended straight away. I call it Memphis. And and it was a beautiful handover. You know, lifting of the cover off and all that sort of stuff, and gave me a leather bag, and it was a pen, and it was T-shirts and this and that and all the rest of it. So the whole experience was draining and tiring, but it was fantastic. So yeah, flew over, got on it, and gave myself. I had 2 weeks off. So I gave myself, I think I did it picked up the bike on the Saturday, and I was home back in Perth on the following Sunday.
And that was the biggest ride you've ever done?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was it. I was completely addicted after that.
You loved it?
Oh, absolutely. I would rather take my chances with the fur animals out on the road than the twats that you get in the city.
We'll come back to that. Just remind me to come back to that one. And the contrast has asked you a question. What Indian bike would you like if you could have anyone, new or classic?
You like if you can have one, new or classic? Oh, okay. Right now, as it stands, and if the guys look back at my reviews, and that was Nick. G'day, Nick. Thanks, mate. He's watched my videos and the reviews I've done. And I'm not having a knock at Indian at all, but the challenge is not for me. The newer Roadmasters, they're not for me. They're great bikes and all the rest of it. And if I had millions of dollars, I'd buy them. But I'd probably buy a 1930s or 1940s Chief or something like that. That's what I would like to get, an old bike. I've got a few friends here who ride there, and one guy's got a great collection. And I'd probably go back to get an old Indian, seeing though I've had two new ones.
Well, Eric just says the only Indian he's ever ridden was a 47 Indian Chief.
Yeah, wow. Yep. Well, that's very similar to the mate of mine, Chris, who's got one. He's got a 48. He's got 42. He's got several Scout now that he's putting together, and he's got a Dark Horse, and he's got a Roadmaster. So, and just quickly on that, I'm going to interview that guy, Chris Gill. He's all about his Indian bikes, but in the future. But yeah, he's only ridden a 47 Indian. So I mean, I have to be honest. I've sat on many. I have never ridden any of the old ones. Never ridden them off.
Well, the old Indians have got real class, and what I love about the Indians today, not all of the Indians, but most of the Indians, like the Chief, they still have that classic look. They might have all the mod cons, everything on it, but they still have that classic vintage look. The newer ones don't. Taking the headdress off and getting rid of those, I think that's not the right thing to do. I don't think that's the right thing to do. If you want to be Indian, you've got to have the headdress, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Look, I agree with you there, and I understand they're going for the younger generation. They're probably not making a lot out of the older guys now. They're stuck with their bikes. They might replace them every few years, but they're trying to go for that younger generation. And I mean, I don't know how it works, and but they're selling. The shops are doing very well here in Perth, both in Mandurah and Kenwick. But yeah, they took away. It was like the vintage I had, Memphis. She just had that look, and they've now they're not making those. Apparently, they're on hold. They're not making them for the next year or two. And they were the true, when they brought them back from the old classics, when they wanted to, it was like they really stuck to the ground there. But now they're taking away the indicators on the Roadmaster and the extra lights and et cetera, et cetera. So I got, one of the last of the, with the 2018 Roadmaster, it's still got that Indian look.
It's a bit like the Icon that Eric rides. It still has that classic look.
Yeah. Yep.
If you're going to make something new, it needs to, in my view, it needs to be classic. I mean, all this new stuff that's coming out, and maybe it's just because we're a little bit older, but if you're going back to your roots, 1901, then you need to keep your classic bikes in your lineup. You can't get rid of them all. It's not the way. I don't think a company should be doing that. They should be making sure that they're there to look after the older riders as well. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you, but I'm over banging my head against the wall, especially over here. We're such a little market for the USA. As passionate as we are, And the ambassadors that the celebrity ambassadors, I never see them. You never see them out riding. And you know, I've met two of them, and I've never seen them go out and ride the bike or promote, unless they're probably getting paid for it. So where we sort of just do it for the love of it. So I don't know where they're going to be heading. Sales are going okay. Everything's obviously 6, 7, 8 month waiting list. So it's just the way it is, isn't it? It is what it is.
It is. So let's talk about your vintage and the ride that you did around Australia.
Yep. Okay. Well, the vintage I did most of Australia on. I didn't do the whole lap. After I picked the 24 vintage Springfield up in Melbourne, rode back, and then planned a trip, and then rode across and went to Tasmania. Did a week there, rode back, cheated a little bit, shipped it from Adelaide back to Perth, which I regret doing. I should have just rode. And then I did a trip from Melbourne to Cairns. And then obviously all of Western Australia, or not all of Western Australia. It's a big state. But I've done the south to death. I've just about found every road I can possibly go down in the south. So I did about 57,000 Ks on that one in 2.5 years.
Wow. That's a lot of riding.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's daunting. I mean, it's daunting. And I mean, anyone that goes off on a big ride and just says they just don't think about it, go, I mean, I'd have to argue that with them, because I mean, there's a lot of thought goes into it, and you've got to be somewhat prepared. You can't be prepared for everything, but you know, goes over in my mind a million times before I go off on a trip on all the things that could go wrong. But once you're out on the road, it's a whole different feeling.
So you did 57,000 kilometres on that bike. I wanted to ask you a personal question, if I may. Why do you ride?
Why do I ride?
Yes.
Shit. Why do I ride? I think it's a freedom thing. Definitely. I try and explain it to people that go off in the cars, is that you're watching a movie in a car. You're watching the big screen, you're sitting down, blah, blah, blah. On a motorbike, you're in the movie. You're the star of it. And just jumping back to that first long one that I did up to Kalbarri on the Yamaha, I remember taking off from Northampton, and then going through the valley in the morning, and just the first time I really smelt everything, you know, the grass, the country, the trees, the animals, the cows. That was it for me. I mean, it's just a sense of freedom. And that on a motorbike, because I've been driving my whole life for a living, it comes natural for me, the driving. It's easy. Okay, you got to be switched on, but it's easy. It's just a natural thing for me. A motorbike, even when you're relaxed, you've got to be switched on. So I find that a good challenge, because it keeps you alert. It keeps you, you know, can I do this? So I think that's just a freedom thing, and I think most bikers, riders would agree with that. Just to be able to get on there and you're in the elements. You've got nothing, but there's really nothing protecting you.
Do you find that it's a time where you can decompress?
Yeah and no. I know a lot of people say go off on the ride when they're feeling down, and I can't do that. I'm the opposite. If I'm going through a downside or not, you know, just feeling like everything can go get rooted, I'll probably louch off in the theatre room and just sit there for 12 hours and not do anything. I don't want to be riding a bike when I'm in a depressed situation, or because to me that can get you into a situation where someone cuts you off or whatever, and next minute a finger goes up, and then it escalates to something you couldn't be bothered with, especially at our age. You get cut off all the time. Yeah, whatever. Okay, you move on. So I don't do it I do mainly do it when I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling great, and that makes me feel even better.
Awesome. Biker's wife just asked a question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been on some of the long rides with $1 Million Bogan?
I don't think we ride well together. I've been following Daniel from the get-go, and he certainly doesn't need our promotion. I think he's cracked 104,000.
Yeah. He's fine.
And I've been watching him pretty much from the very first one. Was I wouldn't mind meeting him. I think as a guy who just gets out, I mean, I absolutely admire the guy for what he does, and he doesn't give a roaring shit what anyone thinks. And that, to me, appeals to me big time, because I've got a lot of haters. I got a lot of people that want to bring you down, and they go, yeah, fucking you this, you that. But mainly it's because you're doing what they can't or they won't do. Yeah. And he's doing the same. He's doing it with a lot more dollars than what I'm doing it with. But the bottom line is he's talking the talk, And I reckon and especially the latest one he just did recently, he went right up to the top end of North Queensland, So I know I digress a little bit off there, but, I wouldn't mind meeting him, but I don't think I would ride well, because he has to be in charge. He has got to be the leader and whatever, and I pretty much the same. I sort of want to run my own ride.
Run your own show.
Yeah.
He does many mental health fundraiser rides. That's what
he does.
Life just did.
Well, he went over on a monkey bike from Geelong to Perth and back and raised 100,000 on a monkey bike.
I've been following Daniel before he did his first ride. He came up in my notifications when he was doing real estate, and I clicked on him, and I thought I liked the guy's humour, so I just watched him every now and then when he would post a video, and then he posted his video when he was going to go up to Cape York. That was his first major ride that he did, and I believe I saw him at Mataranka. Because I was living in Mataranka, and he pulled up to refuel, and I'd just been watching his video, and I'd gone to the roadhouse because it was right next to where we lived, and I thought it was him fueling up at the roadhouse, but I didn't go up to him and say, "Hey, Danny, how you going?" But he's just blowing up. I mean, I subscribed to him when he was about 20,000 subscribers, I think it was. Now he's over 100,000. Amazing.
Yeah. He cracked that 100, and he's on 104 or something now. And look, he's editing. The bottom line, his editing it's
top notch.
It is, isn't it? I mean, he really sits down there, man, and he's obsessed, and he's passionate, and he just focuses. Obviously, he sits down there. I get sidetracked by a lot of things, I'll do whatever, but he's sitting down there, and he'll probably spend a whole night just, as they say, it's usually 1 minute of video is an hour or so of editing. If you do it properly and you want to do it right, and you want people to sort of stay focused, because our attention span is, where are we about that? So if you don't grab them straight away, there's so much more to watch on YouTube. You know what I mean? Everyone's doing it. You've got to be able to have your own little niche. But yeah, he's brilliant. I've got a lot of respect for him.
If you look at your analytics, you can actually see how long people are actually watching your videos. And normally, for me, it's roughly around about 3 minutes, and then people are off.
You're right. You're spot on. And what I can't understand is that, for instance, say he's got 100,000 subscribers, but he will only get 40, 50, 55,000 hits of views. So that means that at least half of the subscribers are not watching.
Correct.
Which is it just astounds me, and that happens with most of the guys and girls that I follow. I mean, I don't have enough to worry about, but thanks to you, I think I've actually hit 160 or something now. I just try and text her in the zero. It makes me feel better. Extra zero. But yeah, you're right. The analytics, you look in there, and a 10-minute video, and quite often the average viewing is only 2.5, 3 minutes. Apart from the reviews, people seem to like the reviews, because if they're going to buy something or get something, they want to say, oh, hang on a minute, this guy's going to give me an honest opinion on what he just brought or what he just wrote. So they tend to have a bit of a longer following, but. Yeah, I don't quite know how that sort of works, but I think he's earning about 60 or 80,000 a year on YouTube.
I'd be close to it. He'd be close to it.
Yeah.
Kraken's just said, it's my belief his niche is just being himself with no filters. And I want to just touch on that. I think a lot of us that are in this scene, the motovlog world, our niche is because we are just ourselves. We all have a different kind of way of doing our channel. Bolt Bucket, for example, has a motorbike that falls apart. That's his niche. You have your niche with with your humor and your interaction with Jax, your interaction with other guys, your dad jokes, which never seem to work well for you at all, and I have a good laugh at those. Just. Because people, it's interesting how people interact with you, because you say a joke and you can see they're thinking about what you just said and they're not sure how to react to what you just said. And then you kind of, play along with it, and then you fob it off a little, and then they go, thank goodness I didn't have to answer that one. I mean, Kraken's got his niche. I've got my niche. A lot of these motovloggers have their own way of, coming across to people. And we talked about this other night, Dave, where a lot of the bigger motovlog channels become more commercialized, and they're more, I guess, staged in what they're doing, and they're not actually just being real with their subscribers and the people across the camera. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a funny thing, because I don't care if I make you make a bit of it, like Daniel. He has put all these embarrassing moments on video. He doesn't edit that, or if he does it in a very good way, and he puts it in there. But he still shows him dropping the bike, can't pick the bike up, puts up, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know how to lift this thing up, but I found out later. He puts all those things up, and there's so many people that want to have a crack at that. And to me, I applaud that, because he's real. He's real. He's like, this is what's happened. He's fallen over. And how many people would video that?
Not very many. Not very many people. They would want to edit that stuff out.
Yeah, and the videos I like, the YouTubers I like to watch, is I actually want to see a lot more of the person behind the camera, the character of the person that I'm watching. Because if they're not a person that I feel is genuine, or they're just making shit up for the hell of it, like you see a lot of these little short things that come up on your Facebook and what have you, and these idiots are setting up scenarios, and they're looking for their 5 minutes of fame. And it's just so bad and embarrassing that they're trying to get this attention, And he's real, and that's what I look for, the character behind the camera. And I think you also follow, Ride with Two Indians, Brian and Barbara. Yeah, I was put onto him by Chris Keeble, Aussie and Indian, and I watched it, and straight away I thought, I want to sit down with this guy and have a drink and a meal and go riding with him. He's editing is up there with Daniel's as far as I'm concerned. Up there with the $1 Million Bogan guy, if not probably a touch better in certain things. Where he's always shows you how to put something onto a bike or where they go riding in Florida, and he's what do they call it, the iron butt.
Oh, the iron butt saddle.
He's done a few of those. Yeah. But he's edged. I can never. That's one video I watch all the way through every time. I will not miss it. And me and Jack sit there and watch it, put it on the big screen, and we go, right, here's our 30 minutes of Brian or whatever. And I can't. He's one of the main people I want to meet when we get a chance to get back over to the States and ride. So, but yeah, bottom line is the character of the person. I want to know about him.
So, just talking about people that you want to meet, I've only met 3 motovloggers. You're one, Spike. So yep. 2 guys in Western Australia, and Brandon Bicasso in Alabama.
You met
me? Yeah, I met him back in 2020, March 2020, when we went out to the States.
Brian vows to him.
Oh, Brandon to me, and Brandon, I'm a Patreon of Brandon, and I get to, interact with him in the Patreon chat. Yeah. But meeting Brandon, for me, he has always been the best motovlogger out there, in my view, in my opinion. Just the way he puts things together, his camera work on the motorcycle, absolutely fantastic. Abusa met him, I think about 2 or 3 months ago for the first time. And they had a good old yarn. But yeah, no. So I've only met 3 motovloggers in my life, and I'd love to meet up with Bolt Bucket, because I think he's like me a little bit.
Where's he?
He's in Adelaide.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep.
Tropical Rider Oz, he's here in this chat. He's also an Australian. You've got Throttle Down Under over in Sydney.
Yep. Yeah, Throttle Down Under I follow. Yeah. Yep.
Hatui, you got Hatui as well.
Yeah.
All the Aussie motovloggers I'd love to meet at some stage. But you and Spike are the only ones in Australia I've ever met.
All right. Well, you are in the middle of buck nowhere, mate. That's true. I mean, what did you say the other day? You've got a fucking 200 k's to go to the post office.
That's right, 200 k's to go to the post office.
You must enjoy your own company.
Yeah, pretty much. In my own head, just riding down the road.
That's where I'd go all wrong. I can't put up with myself for that long. I need to get out there and make sure that someone else is suffering the pain that I have.
Triple C is another one that I want to meet. He's not a motorcyclist, but he loves to crash cars.
Cowboy car. Oh, yeah, I watched some of his stuff the other day, as well as Triple R. Is it Triple R? Don't know if you know about that one. I might have come across him by someone else, but yeah. No, I think I'm onto the Cowboy Car Crusher. If I'm not, I will be. So.
Yes. All right. Moving on to the next lot.
Yep.
So we've talked about the vintage. When did you buy your beautiful motorcycle that you currently are riding, the Roadmaster?
Yeah, Miss Tennessee. Well, the goal was to have both of them. So I had Memphis and I had Tennessee. That was the goal, but the bank account said no. Computer says no.
What about Jax? Did she say no as well?
I don't know how I got away with that one, actually. I know that she said it might not be possible to have 2. You've only got one ass, honey.
This is true.
Yeah. I got her in 2018 because I wasn't finding anything or that was coming up at the new shop. And then at the time, the manager and the assistant manager and service manager phoned me And one of them was over in Australia, over in Melbourne, and said, "Dave, I think we found your new bike." And okay, so he sent me a picture, and I was like, it was a pretty fuzzy picture. It wasn't a great picture, and I was like, "Geez, that's all right. Bloody hell." Fortunately, with some mates in the States, my Texas sheriff mate, he went down to the local shop which had one, and he said, "I'll get some good pictures for you." And he sent them back, and he said, "Dave, you've got to see this thing in the flesh. It's pretty special because it's like 30 coats of paint, 25, 30 hours of labour, broken glass in there, the black, the blue, the real gold, the 23 karat gold they put on everything. I mean, it's over the top with everything. 300-watt stereo system, heated seats. The list goes on. But so I pretty much brought that unsighted as well, as in not in front of me. And they did me a good trade-in on Memphis, the vintage, and looked after me. Now, back then, I won't go into thing, but the shop, it was really good times for the big shop here in Cannington, owned by Polaris before they all went independent. And they, I was sort of an outside ambassador, if you want to call it that, send people down there, running all the rides, leading the rides, etc., that sort of thing. Not that I wanted to. It was, some people I still remember going, "Well, fucking Digby's doing a bloody leading." Mate, lead. You want to do it. It's not that easy. But they never put their hand up, But I digress. But, yeah, so I picked her up at the late 2018, December. We were just about to go on the Christmas ride. And, and that was it. I mean, I've customised it somewhat to put my own taste, and especially the seat. The seat didn't really suit me. It was sitting too high for me. It was very office-like. I wanted to sit in, as we all like to sit in our bikes and are on it. And 92,000 Ks later, and I think it's, 4 years? Yeah.
So you've done a total of 160,000 kilometres around Australia. Is that right?
I added it up, yes. Yeah, so 57 or so on the other one. I'm on 92 on this one. And then if you look at the last two bikes before that, you're 10 or 20,000 Ks. So, yeah. So definitely way over 150,000 Ks, plus a few thousand Ks in America when I was over there for the Indian record.
So let's talk about the ride around Australia that you did last year. How long did it take for you to prepare for that trip?
Well, I had longer than I wanted because we were supposed to do it the year before when the Silverton world record was going to be put on in Silverton for the Indian motorcycles. And obviously something, COVID, came about. I don't know much about it, but apparently it disrupted a few events. So that got postponed. And so they ended up doing it in 21. I left, how did I prepare? So, yeah, I mentally prepared myself a lot better than the ride when I took the vintage up to Cairns, and I was going to ride across the Northern Territory in Queensland. But I didn't. I backed out of that. I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't mentally prepared for that one, and I came back to Cairns and shipped the bike back, and it was very disappointing because I let myself down. But I prepared myself a lot better for this one, physically, mentally, more so mentally. I'm fairly fit. I'm not a big muscly guy or anything like that. So, but you want to make sure. I started working out, if you do, I do get myself into trouble, I can at least might be able to get myself out of it. But so I prepared myself, physically and mentally for that one. And it was a long time coming.
What was the best thing about that ride around Australia?
I love the prepping. prepping and getting things ready on the bike and putting them in the right spots and making sure the bike's not overweighted. I enjoy that. I'd have to say the best time of it, if I don't say it, I'll be in trouble, would be the 2 weeks I spent with Jax. I just heard her clear her throat, so come and show your face, girl. Yeah, she flew to Adelaide. I left on the 10th of April. She flew off on the 17th. And then we went Hahndorf, Adelaide, Ballarat, Victoria, New South Wales, through the Snowy Mountains, Jindabyne, etc. There you go.
Hey, Jax.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Keep him in check.
What was that?
Keep him in check.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. She gave up on that a long time ago, but that was well, I was just saying about that 2 weeks that we spent. That was fantastic, wasn't it? Riding Snowy Mountains, mate. The Jindabyne, Fredbo. We had the perfect weather. It was fantastic.
Yeah, Jindabyne was good.
And you enjoy riding behind your husband?
Yeah, because I can drink and go to sleep. Everybody asks, why don't you ride? It's because I can drink and go to sleep.
It's classic. I love your relationship on camera. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's such a good laugh. Now bugger off.
It's about me, baby. I just saw the biker's wife put down. She said it was the video where she's on the floor was the funniest video she's ever seen.
No, I thought I was classic. I actually showed it to her. I said, "Look at this. Check this out." I'm just pissing myself laughing.
You have many people say, watch videos of yours to prove how wonderful they are actually to their wives.
Yeah. They go, see, I'm not an arsehole like this guy.
No, it's classic. I think it's absolutely classic. I love seeing how you interact with each other on camera. It's awesome.
Yeah, well,
she loves. I think she portrays in a way. She does it better than the other people that don't get your dad jokes. She just looks at you with this look of, really? Did you just go there? And I'm married to you, and I've been married to you for 38 years.
Yeah.
What the hell? Why am I doing this?
So how can you trust her when she's married a guy like me?
I have tried to leave. He follows.
Yeah. I said, if you leave me, can I come too? There's a song in that.
Oh, I love it. That's classic. That's classic. All right. The next question I had was, what was your greatest achievement that you've had during your riding career, apart from marrying Jax?
It's funny.
Riding wise.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Would be the Around Australia trip when I started to get into the real Outback. And I think we touched on it briefly the other day. Where I got to Georgetown, about 400 k's from Cairns, and that's when everything goes in the middle of nowhere, like, Outback. It just all of a sudden the roads turn into a Northern Territory thing where it's narrow, some bitumen if you're lucky. That was when I was able to. Because the last time I got to that spot, I turned back and I was a mess. This time, as I pulled over and all the black cockatoos landed down on the ground, which I love. I love animals in general, but black cockatoos, I could just watch them all day, and they just landed around me. And I stopped the bike and just watched them for 5 minutes, and I didn't deter them. They didn't deter me. So that was my biggest achievement. I punched the air and on I went, and right through the Northern back of Queensland, and then through the Northern Territory. You know, you're talking your Fitzroy Crossing and Falls Creek. There's nothing there. If something happens, you're in the shit. You know, whether you've got an emergency beacon or not, you know, it can turn ugly really quick on a motorbike, especially because if you have to stay overnight in the environment and you haven't, you know, got all the equipment, it might be a stinking hot day, but it's going to be a freezing frickin' night. So that's probably, I'd have to say, so far my mentally biggest achievement on a motorbike so far. Yeah. I want to do it again, so I can just say I didn't fluke it.
Yeah, look, mate, you're doing something that I've longed to do, and I've just never got there. I've never prepared enough to be able to do a ride like that, but I would absolutely love to do it at least once, to be able to say that I rode around Australia.
Yeah, you want to do it twice, Nathan, because I did it. And it was really all about the riding, like, you know, especially when you're riding mainly by yourself, which I did, you know, 90% of it was solo, is you tend to just get on the bike and you ride, you know, and you miss out on a few things here and there because you just sort of want to. And with the COVID shit that was going on, all the states seemed to be shutting down after I left, and it was getting hard to get accommodation. And I didn't have camping gear per se, so I was hotel, motel, etc. You want to do it again. So it's like watching the movie the second time. You see things that you didn't see before, and you enjoy it a bit more because it's all soaking in. And I think that's the reason I want to get around again, because I want to be able to probably smell the roses a little bit more. This one was more about, can I do it? Can I do the full circle? You know, what was it, 16,500 Ks, 7 weeks and 2 days on the road.
Unbelievable, really. Eric, actually, Throttle Down Under's in the chat. Good to see you, Rob.
Yeah, he's driving to Uluru.
Yeah, in September. Can't wait.
Eric sucks too.
Done the same too. Paddy Outback from Townsville. He's going to Uluru from Townsville as well. He's doing that shortly, I think.
Yeah, you know, I reckon that's a fantastic meeting spot because it's sort of that centre. You know, if you really want to have a big meeting of things, I mean, I reckon Alice Springs, that area would be a sensational spot to meet up. And we're going to do that. We're looking at that originally for the Silverton, the Indian motorcycle record. But some people were complaining they were riding 200 Ks to Silverton or 300 Ks to Silverton, and we were riding across from I still shake my head at that. I just, what are you guys whinging about?
That's right. Exactly right.
You do that to go to the post office.
Yeah, I mean, you ride a bike to ride. You don't ride it to you. Anyway, let's not go there.
Eric, it's Eric, isn't it? From the Garage and Adventures. He he was just saying, will we get over to the United States again? Yes. I love America. First time there was 2008, and then 2016 for the record thing. I want to ride across. I want to ride across the whole of the states. You know, deviating obviously, but I want to go down that coast from San Francisco, along the coast there, and into all the national parks, all that sort of stuff. So, and we've got so many friends over there now. You know, Texas and I think it's Colorado, and we've got Brian and Barbara in Florida, and other ones scattered all over the place. So many people we still want to see, but I really have a dream to ride across the states. I reckon it'd be fantastic.
So when you went to the States, when was it that you went there to do the world record event?
2016.
2016.
Is my memory right? Yeah. 2016. We went via Hawaii there and back. And at that time, it was St. Paul, Minnesota. Art Welsh, people won't know about Art Welsh. We won't go into any stuff there. He's hated, he's loved, he's whatever. But he organised it. And I'm trying to remember, 274. I've got the Beginner's Book of Records certificate. It was to set the record because there wasn't a record held by Indian, only by Harley, etc. And yeah, 274, I think, from memory, was that. It was in Minnesota and St. Paul. So made a lot of lifetime friends there.
How many motorcyclists came from overseas?
I think that at that time, I believe we were the only ones that went.
Really?
I had to hire the motorcycle off the shop. I think it had previous times he had people over for other records, like even John Munro, Bert's son.
Yep.
I believe he's been over there a couple of times now. And I don't remember anyone from overseas. They'd come from like Canada, etc. But I don't remember meeting anyone, that had come from another country flying wise. Yeah.
What was that like for you, going to another country, being part of such a large event and meeting all these people and seeing all these beautiful bikes? What was that like for you in a mental way, but also your feelings?
Oh, overwhelming. It was. We were overwhelmed from the start. There was so many people. I was doing some pretty pathetic vlogs back then as our trip on the way over, and doing my normal antics. And we had so many people messaging all the time saying, we'll be there, Dave. We can't wait to meet you Aussies. You bloody guys are mad, and all the rest of it. And a few people threatening to take Jackie away from me because they said, look, you're not treating her right. I couldn't argue with that. But very overwhelming. It was overwhelming. It was we got there and we're only around the corner from the shop, and believe it or not, I'm trying to think of where they came from. There's a guy who owns a Yamaha Royal Star, and him and his wife rode like 3 or 4 days away. We never met. We only knew each other through the Yamaha site. Before I got onto the Indian, we stayed friends and all the rest of it. Mark Shields, and they rode all the way down just to meet us. Now, bear in mind, as you probably know, most American general workers only get 2 weeks holiday a year, if they're lucky. Well, pretty spoiled over here. I'm getting my 10, 11 weeks a year. And they came down and spent their time to come down to meet us. And they knew someone there, so they got him to show us around. We went through Wisconsin and down beside the Mississippi River. So that was like unbelievable. They left, and then the Texas mate I'd been in contact with, Sheriff, they turn up for the Indian ride, and of course, big guy just hugs you straight away. You bastard, overalls. He had the overalls. So, I mean, a nicer guy you could not meet. So everybody was overwhelming. They just wanted to meet the Aussies. I mean, they apparently we've got an accent that they enjoy.
They do, apparently. Yeah. I had a number of comments. Summer and I were shopping, and the females that were behind the counter would be absolutely awestruck by this accent. I couldn't work it out. But
yeah,
was interesting, to say the least. All right. So what I want to do is I would like to play a couple of your videos, or at least one of them. But I also wanted to go through some of the photos, and you give us a narrative on the on the photos that we share.
Yeah.
But before we do that, while I'm getting that teed up, can you talk about who are the musicians and singers that have shaped you over your life? And I don't think anybody will recognise or understand why you would call a bike Memphis and why would you call another bike Miss Tennessee. So please share with people why you would do something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, my main man and has always been Elvis, and funny enough, more so now for some reason than ever. I've been able to collect so much material that's all been upgraded, the Aloha Hawaii, the Comeback Special, etc. So Elvis is he's been my main music man from the get-go. I've always been musically sort of orientated, so obviously rock and roll, blues, Beatles, some of the Rolling Stones, etc. Phil Emmanuel, Tommy Emmanuel over here.
Yep.
I got to see them a couple of times play, and I remember when we were living in Queensland, we went to see this show, and I was going to see Tommy, and a mate of mine who was in a band, he said, "Oh, you might go in a Tommy fan, but you're going to come out a big Phil fan." And I just didn't realise how good that guy was till I saw him play. He's probably one of the greatest guitarists, underrated guitarists I've ever seen. But yeah, they're the sort of things that I do. The reason I named Memphis, obviously, Memphis, Tennessee is where I've always wanted to go. And when I got to go and we went to Graceland in 2008, probably have that as my number plate, but they don't fit them on the motorbikes here yet. That's for those longer words. And Tennessee, so obviously that's Memphis, Tennessee, that's matched up. So that's the main things. I mean, yeah, influences are just all music. I listen to just about anything, big band music. I love my the Rat Pack, the Dean Martins, the Sammy Davis Juniors, the Franks. Those guys didn't need auto-tune. They didn't need all the fancy shit. They sang into a raw microphone and sounded absolutely fantastic. And the likes of Elvis, I mean, his voice, and just the way, he just blew everyone away. Even the guys all the big boys going to see him just said, "Oh my God," he had the looks, the physique and the voice. They're my big influences in that sense. So, I've had a few local ones around here that, when I started playing a few years ago and playing in a band and in a duo and all the rest of it, you got to play to the crowd. So, which is okay because I'm, whatever makes anyone feel good. Sometimes it changes your whole mood, doesn't it? Music.
Did you have any success in the music industry?
Oh, do you not know who I am, Nathan? Damn! Who do you think you are?
It was called Digby Wonderworld or something, was it?
That's actually pretty kind compared to most things that get called. Yeah, no, we did all right. Look, I tried the band stuff in the early days. Found out that I don't play well with others sometimes. Well, they're not rehearsing, they're not learning new songs, and I've always been the same in my sporting career and in my music career. Is that I always wanted to aim to get on stage, do what you got to do, and see if I can pull it off or not. See if you're good enough. Some people are happy to sit in their garage or their room and they just play and they play and they play or whatever. Now, I need to know if I can do it when I'm on stage. So when I eventually faded away from the band and I got the duo together, we did really well for quite a few years. We were booked 12, 18 months ahead. I got a young girl, sang fantastic, sang all the poppy stuff. I did all the guitar, did all the backing tracks. We made it sound as live a band as we could. Yeah, it was, we did really well with that. And my guitar skills went a lot higher because it was all like electric guitars. You can get away with certain stuff, you know, you can sounds and distortion and whatever. When you're on an acoustic, if you fuck up, everyone knows.
Just close my door because the bird's whistling at you.
I can hear it. Yeah, saying hello. Any questions down here? What do we got? Culture Club, Digby. Culture Club. I'm missing out on all these questions.
It was the same with me, mate. When I was doing bands, I did bands for 25 years, and it was just painful, absolutely painful. When I went solo, I actually made more money going solo, and my expertise just blew through the roof because I had to do everything on my own.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't really done any music since 2010 because my career's gone in a different direction. But for 30 odd years, that's pretty much what I pushed. I was on stage every weekend, doing 3-4 gigs a week. You know, it was just, that was what my life was. Do I miss it? Yeah, kind of. I do miss it. I do miss going on stage. I do miss, you know, talking and singing to the crowd. But I don't miss the rubbish that goes along with it. I don't miss that at all.
Setting up, packing up, trying to get paid.
Driving. You know, I would drive from Catherine to Darwin on a Friday afternoon. And, you know, that was 3.5 hours drive. I would then set up that afternoon. I would then do a gig for 5 hours. I would then pack up that night. I would go to the hotel the next morning. I'd do some shopping. I'd then go to a gig at lunchtime and another pub in Darwin. Then I'd do another gig in the evening, and then I'd drive back on a Sunday. So I do 3 or 4 gigs every weekend in Darwin, and I did that for 2 years straight.
Wow. Yep.
Every weekend.
Unbelievable. Wow. I mean,
it gets too much.
Yeah. If I had vocal talent, I could do some backup singing and stuff, but if I had vocal talent, I'd probably still be doing it today. But you know, it's a good thing to look back at, and I've still got the acoustic guitar hanging around and different things, and I'm looking at setting up a little bit of a music studio here, so that I can actually. I'm going to work towards putting my own backing ground music into my videos, so I don't have to worry about this copyright shit.
Well, Huchui, he's been gigging for 30 years.
Yeah.
And
I tell you what, I saw the guitars in the background while he's been sitting at home with his COVID. And I thought, this guy had some nice guitars up there. He looks like, you know, the real deal. And then when he picked up the electric and the acoustic the other day and I was watching him play, he's very good. Very good.
He is. If you go and watch some of the songs that he's done and he's put them on his channel, he's very good. In fact, Eric uses some of his music for his backing tracks on his videos.
Oh, really? Wow. Because I saw his. It was a year ago. I came across. It was just today, and it was showing his music studio, the stuff that he had, and he was doing vocals and recording over. And I thought, son of a bitch, that's exactly what I want. That would be brilliant. Yeah, it's talented. But see, that's what I mean about going back to that vlogging thing with the people. Is that I'm the sort of guy who watches a movie and straight away I get on there on Google. I go, who's this guy? Or what's this? Did this movie? How well did it do? Etc. What's the in and outs of it? And it's like this bloke. He, you don't know. You know, he's a rider. He does this. Next minute he's home and stuck in the room and doing COVID. And he picks up his guitar and says, "Oh, by the way, I do this as well." And I thought, okay, probably going to say, I thought, hang on a minute. No, this guy's a bit of a pro. And you don't know, do you? You know, so I think to myself, if I ever catch up with a bloke, you know, maybe we might have a jam, we can talk music, you've got something in common.
Yeah, Chewy and I have got a lot in common, just like you and I do. And he also is a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve. You know, his vlogs are very like personal as well, and he connects with the people on the other side of the camera, and that's what makes Chewy's channel unique. And you know, somebody that you want to, you know, go and support and watch, because he is genuine. You know, he's genuine in what he does. In fact, every single person that's in here that has a channel is genuine in whatever they do, because they connect with their audience. You know, Triple C, Cowboy Car Crushing, you know, he does, you know, shout outs for people's birthdays and writes their name on the car and then crushes the car. He puts stickers all over his loader. You know, he connects with his subscribers all the time. In fact, he had a subscriber fly all the way over from Germany just to come and see him.
Gee. Unbelievable. That's male or female?
It was a male. Definitely a male. If it was a female, we probably would have heard a lot more about it.
A lot more entertaining videos.
Yes. All right, I'm going to play a video.
Okay,
I'm going to share this with people. This is a very long video, all of 46 seconds.
Oh.
But this is I love this. This is called Wife or Bike.
Yeah, right. Anyone that hasn't seen it.
Anyone who hasn't seen it, it's called Wife or Bike. Which would you choose?
G'day all, alrighty. Okay, so we're heading down the shop today and we're going to do a Challenger and a Super Chief review. Right at hand. Oh, shit. What's that? Oh, shit, I thought my bike had fallen over. Yeah. Oh, shit. Jesus, you hear that? Babe, stop sticking around. We've got to go and do the review. Hey.
Oh, I love it.
I might get some hate mail, mate.
I'm going to have to play that again, mate.
What are you doing to me, man?
No, let me play it again. Let me play it again. That was awesome. Let's do it again. All right.
G'day all, alrighty. Okay, so we're heading down the shop today and we're going to do a Challenger and a Super Chief review. Right at hand. Oh, shit. What's that? Oh, shit, I thought my bike had fallen over. You all right? Holy shit. Jesus, did you hear that? Babe, stop dicking around. We've got to go and do the review. Hey. I'm going to get some hate mail, I think.
That's just, I love that. That is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that was just a snippet that was in a much longer video that you did. And that was the only thing I remember. I don't know whether this is a reflection on me, mate, but that was the only thing I remember in that whole video you did was that section there.
Maybe that's what I should do. Just do some wife abuse and slapping and stuff like that, and forget about the bike travels, forget about the reviews, don't worry about that shit. Just like, hey, look at this guy. Look, he's picking on his wife again.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. All right, so I'm going to go to some pictures.
Yep.
And just make sure that I'll just stop sharing that one. And I'll go to share screen. Which one are we doing? Type screen. All right. Did that come up?
No.
Hasn't come up?
No. Got your bike in the background.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. All right. Here we go. That's it.
All
That's
right.
it.
Right.
All right.
Oh.
So
Honda Shadow.
this is the Honda Shadow.
Yeah. 750.
And how long did you have the Honda Shadow for?
Oh, mate, really? Oh. It would have been under 2 years. It would have been between 12 months and 15 months or something like that.
Did you like the bike?
I did. It was, it was my first big cruiser per se. So, you know, that was big to me at the time. Although later on, I remember riding it down to the motorbike shop that brought it off me. They rang me and knew about it. And I remember hopping on it to take it down there, and I felt like I was on a bloody mini bike.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
after the Indians are, you know, they're big bikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing I didn't like was the carb. It was a carburetor. That many times I'd had it just cut out on me because, hadn't been pushed in properly, et cetera, and or wouldn't start or flooded or whatever. But yeah, but apart from that, I mean, that was a bloody great bike. I got all the bags with that. Yeah, it was good fun. It was a good step. I'm glad because all that sort of stuff happened, because I don't think I could have gone just from that to an Indian.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you don't have experience in riding a big bike, and have riding experience behind you on that, you don't just get on those bikes and ride them. I don't give a shit what anyone says. You either have to have been riding a big bike or worked your way up to it.
Did you like the white colour?
Yeah, I sort of wanted white because I didn't want I just noticed it was same with the Yamaha, probably that's going to come up soon, was I got over it pretty quick. I just wanted something different. I didn't want black. You know, I didn't want to have it. It was just something that came about, appealed to me at the time. And then, you know, obviously I just kept on upgrading. There she is. Yeah, that was on my way back from Melbourne. For those in America, I don't know how many of you know about the 90-mile straight. It's commonly known as the Nullarbor, but then there's argument between that on how much is the Nullarbor and how much is the Erie Highway and all the rest of it. Is that right, Nate?
Yeah, it's about right, yeah.
Yeah. But it's a long straight, 146 kilometres of completely straight road, which is, what's that in miles?
200 and something or other miles.
Yeah. So, so I'd ordered the rear passenger boards, which didn't turn up, which was okay. I didn't have jacks with me on the way back, and the rack would have been on the back later on. But geez, absolutely beautiful bike. Did Tassie in that, and a lot of Australia.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Cooking your
Where are you
feet.
getting this shit from? That was after a nightmare ride. I had taken off from Melbourne from my brother's, and that was in Bega. And we got friends who used to live a couple of doors up, and they own this massive, massive property now in Bega on this land. But that house is 700 or something square meters.
Wow.
Yeah, pool, everything, mate. Shane and Diane, lovely people. Anyway, I got completely saturated from Melbourne to Bega. It rained and rained and rained and poured on me. The amount of times I stopped to wring out my socks or whatever. And a country hotel let me have a hot shower and dry for a bit, and then I continued on. But I was defrosting.
Wow. That's
All
doing
right.
it hard, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in Sydney where
Yeah.
I met up with a couple of riders I knew that I went to Tassie with later on.
Is that a
Kangaroo
boulevard?
Valley. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think he's brought an adventure bike now. But they took me. I didn't know any of the Sydney area, and they escorted me through the Kangaroo Valley and all the typical bike rides around there.
Yeah, I had an 800 Boulevard and I absolutely hated that bike.
All right. Yeah, I think it was. It looks like one, doesn't it?
It does. So what's the significance of this patch?
How many times have you had someone come up to you, especially since Polaris took over the Indian name? That's a nice Harley, mate. Or whatever. No. Have another look, buddy. No. You know what? I think I had two, not arguments, but confrontations, nice confrontations, with two people that said, no, mate, no, they don't make the Indian anymore. Yeah, mate, they brought, no, mate, no, fucking they stopped back and blah, blah, blah. And I said, mate, do you want to just shut up for 2 seconds and I'll explain to you what's going on? And I swear one of them still walked away going, nah, he's full of shit.
It is a fucking Indian.
It is a fucking Indian. There's me, Texas, mate. There's Michael. We rode with him on the Indian record attempt in St. Paul. And that's when he went down and had a look at the bikes for me. And he said there's one on show down at his shop. And went and took a picture and several other pictures for me. That guy is the bee's knees, matey. Love him. Absolutely love those people. Can't wait to see him again.
You got guys sitting down here with vests on, eating on the floor, sitting on the floor.
Good pickup. Yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe they're doing a bit of a, what do they call it? A set-in where they refuse to go. They're squatters or something. There he is. There he is again. That's me, mate. Texas Sheriff Mike.
It's a beautiful bike, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I said to him, do you carry your gun with you and stuff? You know, he was out of state. He said, yeah. And I said, you shot anyone? He said, no, not today, but you keep mouthing off.
You might be the next one.
That was Black Dog Ride, mate. Isn't Jackie
cool.
looking absolutely scrumptious?
And where was that? In Perth?
That's Bustleton.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's Bustleton.
Gentleman's Ride.
Sorry, what is it called?
It was the Gentleman's Ride.
Gentleman's Ride.
Not Black Dog.
What do they call it, though? There's a bit more to it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's Gentleman's Ride.
Yeah, Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. And it's really weird because generally they only want old school bikes. They want CAF or whatever it is. They don't normally allow any of those bikes to come in, but the shop was, supporting them.
Yep.
With prizes and different things and all the rest of it. And plus one of the riders down there was on the board meeting and said it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So yeah, we went down and pissed them off. And anyway, it was a good ride.
Is that a leatherback helmet there?
No. It looks like it. It's just I can't forget the name of that. I've got it hanging up somewhere. Yeah, it does look leatherback, but it's not, mate. No.
All right.
Oh, wow. Geez, mate, this is fantastic. You're bringing back some incredible memories. I had brought the vintage Memphis off Scott in Melbourne. We were flying to Melbourne to have a few days here and there, and we were just flying over. And I told Scott, I said, oh, mate, you're going to be in the shop, drop in and have a coffee. And he said, "Oh, what are you doing here, sir?" And he goes, "Oh, how are you getting around?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Mate, you want a bike?" No
Wow.
questions asked. I said, "Mate, I'm not in the market to buy." He said, "It's all right, mate. Don't worry about it." He said, "We've got a new Roadmaster here if you want to try it out for us and do a vlog on it and do a review," which we did. We did a rider's and a passenger review. Jackie did her own review. And from the time we rode it out of the shop, I knew straight away my destiny was Roadmaster, because the air suspension and the cushioning of the seats. 2 minutes down the road, I looked back at Jax and I said, "My God, is it really discomfortable?" It just floated, you know?
Yeah.
And we had that for 3 or 4 days. And he said, "Don't bring it back unless it's got more than 800 kilometres on it, because I want it back for the service."
Wow. How
How
cool's
good's that,
that?
eh? Yeah, yeah. Oh, there she is. That's the Yamaha Royal Star Tour Deluxe. V4.
Beautiful bike, though.
Yeah, 1300cc. And the pipes on that sounded fantastic. I should have done something with the seat. It wasn't the most. See, you can see the bend of the seats. Most of the bike seats do that. As soon as you sit, the back of it goes forward, and it's really bad for your posture and your back. But yeah, that was a beautiful bike. Once again, I wouldn't have had that for more than 2 years, because the only ones I've kept longer than 2 years have been the Indian.
And wipe all tyres as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was my 1 week special.
Yeah, I can understand why you got rid of it.
Yeah, I 10 grand, I think that was, and traded it in for the previous bike, the Yamaha Royal Star. I mean, that thing, it had some power. There was no two way. It was 1800, and it came with bags, the shield. He gave me everything, spare tyres, but it was just not for me.
Yeah, not a fan.
Oh
I
boy!
like this
Well,
photo.
this does have a story. That's the day I picked her up. The very day I picked her up from Melbourne, I rode to my brother's, who's in Longwarry, about an hour and a half or so out of Melbourne. He's got a nice little country property, and I stayed there for the night before I continued on my journey back to Perth. But when I got there, my brother said, "I got a mate coming around. He's a bit of a photographer, and he's got a Harley." And not being mean to any of the Harley riders, I just thought straight away, I just don't want any conflict. You know what I mean? Start hammering at my bike or whatever, or it's not an Indian or whatever. This guy came over, he was in awe of the bike, and he just picked up his new Harley. And I would call him more than a hobby photographer, because he's got his own printing machine. And he took all these photos in my brother's paddock, and I was actually very tired and worn out and mentally drained. And I was thinking, mate, fuck, enough's enough. Leave me alone. I'll put it here, mate, put it there. Can you put it that angle? Can you do that? Can you do this? So I did all that, and fortunately, I'm glad I did, because some fantastic photos came out of it, and that's one of them. I've got that in a beautiful frame that a mate of mine did for me.
Triple C has just asked a question. 12,000 kilometres in 7 weeks. Which meal do you skip? Ain't got time to eat 3 squares a day.
Well, yeah. It was 7 weeks on the road, and 16,500 k's around. So I generally used to take off in the morning and just find myself a coffee break on the way. Most mornings I don't eat that much. I'll wait for the middle of the day or mid morning before I have something to eat. So yeah.
Brunch and dinner.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with traveling, especially on a motorbike, is your eating habits. If you don't watch it, can get really, really bad. And if you're not eating properly, you feel like shit. So you need to try and keep on some good stuff. Yeah.
So
I'm just going to say,
that moves into this photograph. You're looking
Yeah.
very, very svelte right there.
yeah. Stand by, just saying goodbye to the wife. She's going to get her hair done. They couldn't get me in. Say goodbye to everybody, baby.
Bye. I'll leave you with him. You'll probably be still
Okay,
gas bagging when I get back.
See you, Jax.
Okay, yeah. I had a mate I rode with a few years ago, and he was good at doing all this sort of Photoshop shit. And he just put my face on this thing, and damn, I look sexy, don't I?
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure if that's the word for it.
Oh, okay. I'll leave that one alone. What do we got? This is the week or 2 weeks we spent in. That's the Indian motorcycle riders attempt. That was one of the rides, though. That wasn't the ride we went on to do the attempt, but we went to a place where we went for lunch and dinner. Absolutely spectacular. And what a picture that is, eh? Just Indians lined up on that beautiful grass field.
It's amazing. Really,
That
is
blue one is the
beautiful.
one the blue one's the one we had right there.
The light blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful color. Lots of teal, almost a teal color.
Yeah, it's like a crystal blue. Daryl, which I haven't seen for a long time here in Perth, he's got one of those here. Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. That was the picture. Now, I absolutely love that picture. I mean, a lot of times you don't like pictures of yourself or whatever, but the sad part about that, Nathan, and everyone, don't try and laugh too much about this, but I got that picture, and then Ken, the guy who was taking the picture, he sent me the stuff, and he said, I'll send you over the proper files and all the rest of it and blah, blah, blah. And I sent that to Jackie, and she was at a friend's place, and she had a look at that, and she goes, is that Dave's new boy? And Jackie's going, yeah, but I don't know who that is. She's probably saying, shit, he looks a bit of all right. Oh, hang on a minute. It's only Dave.
Oh, that's classic.
It is a classic, but that's a beauty. That's just on one of my many trips down south, mate. When I was putting on the white walls on the Roadmaster, which I love. I love the white walls, but with the amount of riding I do, I'm forever cleaning the bloody things, always just cleaning them. But that's just a trip down south, one of the many thousands of trips I've done down south here.
The process has asked a question. Do you need to be a fringed leather daddy to ride an Indian? More fringe than a plains Indian.
What was the last bit?
More fringe than a plains Indian.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I do get hammered about that quite often. I love them. I love the tassels. I love the fringes. If you go to America, they don't even look at you twice. They've got them hanging down to the ground. And there's some guys there, mate. If you said something to them about their tassels, trust me, you wouldn't want to. There were some big nasty boys on those rides, and they just got tassels everywhere. To me, it's part of the Indian heritage. It's sort of like, do I put them on there? But see, I'm not really bothered about what anyone thinks or how they want it. I want my bike the way I want it. And if they want to have a dig at me or you get a laugh at it, then even better. It's all good.
That's fair enough too. I mean, each to their own. I don't like the tassels myself, but
Yeah.
they do look good on your bike though.
Yeah, well, the handlebar grip ones are actually custom made by the guy who custom made the seat as well. So he did all my leather work.
So what's this photo?
Oh, that's one of the many trips we're up north. That's actually Kalbarri, out on the
is it?
lookout in the gorges. Yeah.
It's nice. There we go.
Yeah.
It's the frame.
Yeah, then a couple that we ride with who's got a Burgundy RM. He's retired, and that guy's who did the frame. I wanted it raw. I didn't want straight laced. I wanted the character, and he did that one and the other one that you saw. And he's got like a massive workshop in his house, and he just does all this woodwork. So it was 5 years or 4 or 5 years before I got it framed. When the guy who took the pictures, he sent those pictures over for me via my brother, both the pictures, and gave them to me, and they're quite big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's this
Oh,
fella?
that's me. Yeah, that's the Texas boy, Sheriff. That's his bike, and he's got all his custom work done on there, his paint work, and on the saddlebags and on the tank and everything. Yeah.
You need to check out Anonymous Biker USA. The work that he's done on his Scout is absolutely smicko, mate. It's beautiful.
Anonymous Spiker. Yeah, it sounds familiar. I'll check. After this, I'll definitely get onto him. Yeah.
He's done all sorts of custom work done on his tank and sissy bars, and it's absolutely stunning.
Oh dear.
Who's this bolt? Who's this lady?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Hang on. Let me just get me breath here. Well, that's at the old Indian shop in Kennington.
Yep.
And that's my mum.
Oh, true, man.
Yeah, just lost her a couple of years ago.
Well, she loves the Indian too.
Yeah, well, my dad used to ride and what have you, and I wanted to take my mum down to the shop, and there was 3 of those motorcycles there, 1918. 1918. The guy owns all of them, and in one of them, he's actually ridden across the Nullarbor several times.
Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it?
People are saying in the chat, mate, condolences for your loss.
Yeah, thanks. Lost mum and dad now. So, hey, not here for a long time. But thanks everyone. Yeah, Mundaring Weir. It's up in the hills, not far from here. We do a lot of the rides up there. We're just up there the other day, actually. We went through there on the way to a motorbike shop up in Mundaring. Yeah, that's just one of the many rides. Stop. That's the Mundaring Weir. So
is that fishtail?
Yeah.
Pipes.
Yeah. The only thing I had done to that, it was a stock standard 111 stage 1 fishtails. I think the only other thing I did was put the rack on the back, the floorboards for jacks. That was it.
Lady and the Tramp.
Our local cafe shop that we go down to a lot and support it from the time they've been there. We don't go in it quite as much at the moment, but they put up all these video things, specials and what have you. And the husband, he did that up for us. And I couldn't believe it. And there was people apparently going to the cafe who, knew of me or whatever, and they look up and they go, "Oh, you're kidding me. I can't get away from this guy." So
you're quite well known. I mean, you are quite well known just around the Indian motorcycle or the motorcycle world down in Perth.
Oh, look, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm an out there guy, so it's not for any particular fame or fortune or anything else. It's just that that's the way I am. So, you know, the weird thing is that before I changed it from 2 Digbys, one Indian, it was doing a Digby. And I'll just briefly touch on that. It was really weird because obviously I was in the shop a lot, at the Indian shop and riding and blah, blah, blah. And a guy here, David, who rides a Victory, he was in Melbourne. And just for a joke, he put up the camera, did a selfie and said, I'm doing a Digby, you know, because I'm always at the shop. And before you knew it, people were doing it in every shop in Australia. And they were riding up, doing a Digby. And then it went overseas in Europe, and it went into America. And people were riding, I couldn't believe it. And I was reading all this stuff. And then finally one person asked the question and said, by the way, what the fuck is doing a Digby? They didn't know whether it was a person or what it was or anything. It was, and the PR people, the Indian PR people apparently grabbed hold of it really well, and the pictures and all that went well, and obviously did a, you know, good free promoting. So I thought it was a good thing. It was, but I just didn't, doing the Digby wasn't really sitting well with me. So anyway.
Yeah, the connotations are endless, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. That picture's just out of Carnarvon. Sorry?
Okay, yep. Out of Carnarvon.
Yeah, it's about, I think it's about 60 or 80 k's out of Carnarvon, and all the blowholes and what have you. So I got recommended that it was worth going further and going down and have a look, and it was fantastic.
There's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely spectacular. When they're on show, when it's all flying around, it's a bloody beautiful spot to go. Beautiful. Oh, Jesus.
Classic photo, close up.
It is. I can tell you exactly when that was. That was the time when I got saturated between Melbourne and Bega. I was in the wetsuit, but my gloves got saturated, my shoes and socks got saturated, but everything else was dry. And as you guys, all the riders out there would know what it's like to try and put wet gloves back on or wet hands back into gloves. It's torture in itself.
The big banana in Queensland, eh?
Well, I won a prize on that one.
Did you?
Yeah. The Melbourne shop was doing a thing, put up your pictures, blah, 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 and I did it, and I never received my prize. It was supposed to be a T-shirt or something. And the big banana in Queensland. I had to get a picture of that because when me and Jackie first got together back in probably 1800s, before that was all done up and fancy and that was sort of still there, we parked our car there heading to Queensland to see her dad, fell asleep in the car overnight, woke up and opened the door to all these tourist people, walking past us, and we were parked right in the middle. It was just like, you know, what are you doing, mate?
I just got corrected by Chewy. It's actually in New South Wales. It's not in Queensland. Coffs Harbour. Yeah.
Oh, Coffs Harbour. Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, before Queensland. You see bananas and you straight away think Queensland, don't you?
Yeah, bananas and pineapples.
Yeah.
Because they got the pineapple. I thought they had a big banana as well. I mean, I wonder how they got the bend in that. They must have had some Queenslander come over to do that.
Oh, shit.
This is Alice?
No, that is down south. And I did a bit of a dance, off the spur dance. My bike was still turned on, and a song came on, and I just started. There's actually a whole dance thing to it. It's about 30 or 40 seconds long. I don't know why I did it, but I was just in a great mood. The road you ride along there was the Ballingup Road and what have you, for out of Nannup and everything, and spectacular riding. And I pulled over to this paddock, and this song came on, and I just started jigging along to it. And the phone was recording because I'd just been talking to it. And then I just put it up. I thought, I'll download it. And before I got back down to the next town, I had 100 or 200 hits, and my brother and everybody just saying, "You are a fucking idiot." But it was, I must admit, it was good. That's Brimmer Bay.
Where's that?
Brimmer Bay, which is between Albany and Esperance.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. That was my date for the night.
Yeah, ugly looking one.
Is that not the ugliest mermaid you've ever seen in your life?
It's the ugliest mermaid I've ever seen. Ever.
Ever. Where am I there? I believe we're up near Denham Shark Bay.
Beautiful view.
Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic, yeah.
What have you done to the Roadmaster? Have you done any stage 1, stage 2, anything like that?
Yep, yeah. Before I took the initial purchase of it, I had the stage 2 cams done with the Freedom mufflers put on.
Yep.
What else have I done? All the leather seats been customised completely with my own badging on it. The TCB, the lightning bolt, the grips. I've not long ago put the 19-inch rim on, as opposed to going from the 16-inch.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I've got a customised brake pad, brake pedal, which has got the 1901 on it. And then I wanted to buy a whole heap more because it was so damn good and so good quality. I wanted to hand them out to my friends. And the shop no longer exists, so I can't find the brake pedal.
With the with the 1111 that we've got there, are
Mm-hmm.
you ever going to do any more to the engine itself, or are you just going to leave it the way it is?
No, it's leaving it the way it's. I've 4 years I've had this bike, which is the longest I've ever had any bike. That bike's not going anywhere, and it's staying the way it is. Honestly, I've been on the 116s. I know they've got the more kick, and it's got a little bit of this and a bit of that, and people dyno jet them things, and they do all the stuff. The bike is running exactly the way I want it to run. It's got the sound, it's got the feel, it's got plenty of power. How fast can you go? My license is my living. So if I get something too powerful or too quick, you put me on a sports bike and I'd probably lose my license within a week.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Oh, that was on the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride from before. It was getting a little bit drizzly and wet. And look at that. Can you see the bike? Yeah. See the bike in the background? I think it's it's a Ducati calf race, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I remember seeing it. There was some fantastic bikes on that ride.
I love this one.
Now, that's not me. That's not me at all. That is, I don't know if you know about Tracy Fellows.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, I I've met him. He's been over here and what have you, and I've become good friends with him. He's a top bloke. He's got about 7, 8, or 9 of these Jack Daniels vintage bikes. So he collects them, and he rides. He just gets on, and I don't think he preps for anything. He chucks a shirt and pants on and his shoes, and away he goes. And he just travels all over the place. But I saw him on the he came down and said hello on the Sydney bike shop meet and greet when I was doing my trip. But yeah, I thought that was a fantastic photo, because I don't know if many people know, but the history between the front of the vintage bikes, or the Indians, is in replica to a lot of not that particular train, but you know, the old locomotives.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to match them in with that, and that's why he said it was just timing, good timing for that photo, and I really liked it.
I told Tracy that we were doing this interview, so I think he said he was hoping to come along, but I haven't seen him today.
Yeah, he's a black sheep, mate. He'll pop up if he happens to be there, or he doesn't. He doesn't really plan for anything, old Trace.
What's the story behind this picture?
Just being a dick. I think that's I'm trying to think which ride that. I think it might have been on my round. I just started off my round Australia trip, first day. Camera was rolling.
Just doing a Digby, eh?
Just doing a Digby, yeah. That's me. Just, to me, I've seen those sort of similar shots before with other motorcycle riders, but to me, it sort of just gives you that essence of, I'm feeling the freedom. I'm out, about, I'm going. Let's ride, you know.
I think it's a great photo.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Oh, that's my wife's work. She did that I think for one of her birthdays, and just put all the pictures together of all the trips and rides and photos. So I'll keep her around a little longer.
Oh, love it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I've seen this bike enough. Let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah. That was parked inside.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've got the
She's
ones there, but I've got. Yeah. Yeah. It was Jackie was away, of course. brought the bike in. Brought the bike in, did a spit and polish, and then I think I ended up bringing out my old disco lights from the band days and the duo days, and had a bit of a disco night.
Beautiful.
Biker's wife says.
Able to put my motorbike.
Biker's wife says.
Oh, there you go.
Noted in the house.
To the motorcycle in the house. I was just going to say that. I wouldn't be allowed to. Yes. But look at that. I think, to me, this is one of the favourite photos that I've seen of your bike.
Yep. It's lovely. That's the E shed or B shed in Freo. So for those that don't know, that Freo is short for Fremantle, which is a very, very popular town in Perth that everyone goes to. It's right near the sort of water. Has the famous cappuccino strip. But if you go off to where the dockyards are, and there's cafes and all that sort of stuff, at night time when the lights are all lit up across there where all the cranes are working, you can get some great pictures.
There's Memphis.
Yeah, well, that, I'm proud to say, is the first picture of an Indian motorcycle in front of the then new to be Indian shop.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I pre-guessed why that was going on, that was going to be the new Indian Polaris shop, and I was right. So I thought I'm going to go and get a picture and be the first one.
Oh, there's somebody in the chat that's saying Aussie Street Triple RS765. Yep. G'day. I was looking at the base Dark Horse model just yesterday. Also, the Scout looks nice, but maybe not different enough to what I have. If you're talking about the new Chief that's come out, it's not like the old Chief. I think they've made the bike smaller. You've actually ridden it though, haven't you?
Yeah. If he's talking between the Dark Horse and the Scout, there's a massive difference between Dark Horse and a Scout. You know, the Scout's a small bike, and for some reason, I think they still put it in their section that it's a cruiser. I humbly disagree with that. It's a great bike, but it's not a cruiser. But the Dark Horse, you know, they've got them in every model now. This is where it gets really confusing. You've got the Dark Horse in the Challenger, the Dark Horse in that Chief, you've got the Dark Horse in the Vintage. You know, when you say Dark Horse, you've got to be a little bit more specific on what he's talking about, on what model he wants.
Well, I've got the 17 Chief Dark Horse, and that looks much bigger than the new Chiefs that have just come out this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a different design. You've got the pipes on the one side. It's like a Scout on steroids. It rides fantastic. Yeah. It's got the 1901 engine. I took it for a ride and had a lot of fun on it. Absolutely. Put some bags on it and what have you. You could go anywhere on that thing. There's no two ways about that. I wouldn't do it on a Scout personally. I'd do it on the Chief if I had to. But yeah, it's mid-size, isn't it, between, you know, that Vintage and a Scout, and I suppose that's what they were aiming for.
Yeah, it's almost like an anorexic 17 model Chief.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't have those muscles there. It's very lean.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That was out the back of the Melbourne shop the day I picked the bike up.
That's on the day that you picked it up?
Yeah, I'm about to do a little test run because I haven't packed my gear up there. He said, just go and take it for a little spin and get a feel of it and blah, blah, blah. It looks black there, doesn't it? You know, it was deep blue.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was at the back of the Melbourne shop.
And that was before you left Melbourne to drive to Perth. Yeah.
That was literally the Saturday, 28th of February, that I picked it up. And so I hadn't done it. I still had my gear sitting back. I brought too much gear and they ended up fantastically. They sent a lot of the gear home for me for nothing. And that was when I was about to take off. That's obviously one of the pictures from the day at my brother's that you got up there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's on a ferry?
Yeah, that's on the ferry from, I'm crossing over from Sorrento, Apollo Bay, which is the coastal town of Melbourne that people go for holidays, all that sort of stuff. And they have a ferry that crosses over to Geelong. And you miss out all the bullshit freeways and crap stuff, and you just get directly over into Geelong, and then Geelong will take you through to Apollo Bay and Great Ocean Road, etc.
I've never done that ferry. Always, here we go. This is a blast from the past.
Oh, there she is. Holy shit. That's the Honda CB 250M. You could see where I was going, couldn't you?
Yeah, my brother had one like this. Bought it out to an 800. Man, she flew.
Well, apparently, I didn't know what I know about motorbike engines, I don't know. I could fill with fill a warehouse, but apparently that engine had been shaved.
Yep.
And souped up a little bit, but I wouldn't have known. But bloody sheepskin, cover on the bike. God, I hate that shit.
Yeah, you can kind of see where the tassels are coming into this whole David Digby thing.
What did a mate say the other week? He said, tassels only belong on a stripper. And I said to Chris, I said, so what are you saying, mate? Do you want me to put some tassels on?
So I want to ask you a question about this. Do you have a big following on TikTok?
I don't even know if I have an account on TikTok.
Well, you do. It says here TikTok at doing a Digby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Not that, no, I don't. Mate, trying to keep up with all this social media is fucking does your head in. I don't know. I haven't got many. I haven't really pushed it on TikTok or Instagram. I think I've got a few on Instagram that follow, but I just find that the Facebook is easier for me. I put up there, I get a lot of hits on there, and then I just download also on YouTube. And because I've got people that watch on YouTube but don't on Facebook, and I've got people on Facebook that don't go to YouTube. So I don't know. It's all a bit confusing. Yeah.
What's your fan base on Facebook? How many fans you got? I'm not sure if you can find out that information, but
I've got about nearly 400 followers on Facebook. Because I have a separate page, the two Digbys, one Indian. I do all that, but I share it to my personal page anyway. And then I generally go and download everything on the YouTube, which has grown. I mean, I know it's not a lot. I had a look here where it's gone up since we've started here. I got 161 on YouTube. Now, I only had 88 or something a few months ago. So it's gone up substantially. Thanks to yourself and Eric over in America. And there's a few individual ones like Nick and what have you. He's posted my stuff or recommended the stuff. But I'm getting what's happening now is, which I'm really enjoying, is that some time ago I put stuff up on YouTube, and apart from not that many hits, there would be no interaction at all, no comments, no nothing. Where now I'm getting comments and interactions with people straight away. They feel they've got to know you, you know what I mean? And I think that's fantastic. And so, do I want the hits to go up? Do I want more subscribers? I think we all do that. We do the vlogs because I want to feel that I'm improving with my editing and everything that I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm not getting paid for it. So you sort of get what you get. But you want to, like most people, you want to just improve on what you're doing. So with the likes of following Brian from Ride with Two Indians and Danny with his $1 Million Bogan editing and yourself and a few other people that you just follow, you pick up little bits and pieces and then you put your own little mark on it. So I'm pretty happy with the way it's going. So, and people commenting, it's fantastic. I can talk back and forth. As soon as I see them commentating and they've subscribed to me, I go over and I'll check their channel out and subscribe away, help each other out.
We were talking about this the other night. It's like, I'm subscribed to more smaller YouTube motovloggers these days than what I used to be because I'm more interested in their content than I am in the blockheads of the world and, Motorhead and all these other people that are out there. They've got their niche. They've got all the subscribers that watch them on a regular basis. Whereas it's the smaller motovloggers that, just are telling a story and are wanting to share their story with the people out there. And it doesn't matter. And again, you said this the other day, it doesn't matter if there's only one person that you connect with. If you connect well with that person, then that's a connection that is going to be there, you know, in most cases, it's going to be there for a long time. And
Absolutely.
I think
I mean,
that's the beauty of it.
yeah, and look how many people now that are getting to know us, and as soon as I ride interstate again, you know, which looks like October, there's so many more people that I'm going to meet up with. I'm just going to say, look, I'm in South Australia at such and such, I'll be at such and such pub. You want to come down and have a drink? You know, you can imagine all those meet and greets, and you know, you can share stories, and the fake people generally get found out pretty quick. And to me, it's like being a liar. If you're a liar, you've got to have a bloody good memory, because you've got to keep trying to back yourself up, and then you're stepping over your own toes. Just be who you're going to be. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to change for anything like that. Throwing my antics. Okay, a lot of them are set up for those sort of stuff. You know, you're having some fun. Obviously, I'm not walking over Jackie when she's hit her head. You know, because, well, she was in the kitchen, so I was pretty happy with that. I can't help myself.
Was she barefoot?
No, we got the barefoot thing, but we never got to the pregnancy stage, thank goodness. That's probably the only reason I can afford to buy a motorbike.
Oh, dear. So there's a picture of Jax now.
Mm. You there? Sorry?
Next photo.
Yep. Yeah, that was on my around Australia trip back in April, March last year. That was quite unique because I got to meet up with two other guys who have got exactly the same bike, and there's only 7 in Australia of the bike that I've got, and 300 were made. And these guys met me in Queensland. Unfortunately, there was another 1 or 2 guys with the same bike that couldn't turn up. So there was 3 of us riding along the road, and he was doing some videoing. So I pinched that off him.
I like, even though it's pixelated, it actually it tells the story.
Yeah.
Just by looking at it.
Yeah, you can just see this guy. He's on a road trip. He's got his stuff packed. Yeah, you're right, and it does. And it doesn't have to be a quality, fantastic picture. Sometimes you just need to tell a story.
Mm. Uh-oh, here we are.
Oh, shit. There's me BB King.
Lucille.
Yeah. FFA, not Gibson, unfortunately, but it was a BB King Lucille. Little bit heavy to hold during the night at times. You know, you start doing a 3-hour gig or a 4-hour gig, especially the Les Pauls, they start to get really heavy. But that was that was at the Mount Henry pub where I think we had about 2.5 years playing there.
Oh, I love this photo too. I never got an opportunity. We didn't get the opportunity to be out the front of Graceland. The Graceland wall had been graffitied. The whole lot had been graffitied, and it was the Trump Biden thing. I think I can't remember what it was, but the whole place had been graffitied. So we could only drive through. We couldn't stop and take photographs.
Oh, right. Well, that was 2008. We parked the car. We were staying in the city of Memphis, and Graceland is about 20 kilometres, I think, out of Memphis. And we had to rent a car, and we were going down the next day to do the VIP tour of Graceland, which I've been dreaming about my whole life. But I couldn't help myself. Jackie saw me getting twitchy and whatever. She said, "You want to go down now, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah."
Just an absolute amazing place to go. I haven't done my video yet of the photos I took, but I do want to do a video of Graceland.
Sorry, have you been to Graceland?
Yeah, went there in 2020.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I'm with you. I don't know if when we finished the tour, I was sitting out on the side and we're waiting for we did the VIP one, so we had our own little bus thing that picked you up. And I was talking to the lady who'd been working there forever. And it's going a little bit off track from what we're doing, but just saying that I don't know if you noticed anything a little bit unusual about the graveyard, about the graves. Did you pick up on anything there?
I've looked at the photos that I took, and I was there. You'll have to tell me what you're talking about.
Well, just in general, he was a mummy's boy, right? He absolutely adored his mum, and it was a massive hit to him when he lost her. But if you notice, you've got Minnie, who was the grandmother, and Cook and what have you at the Graceland. Then you've got Elvis. Then you got Vernon, and then you got his mum, Gladys.
I was just going to say that Vernon was next to him, and it didn't make sense that Vernon was next to him, because I remember that now, because Elvis was there, Vernon was here, and then his mum was there.
It stood out to me like dog balls. It was just, I just went, this just doesn't, it just didn't seem right that he wasn't next to his mum or in between his mum and dad. And anyway, I got talking to this lady, long story short, and she said, oh, really? She says, not many people mention that. And she goes, and she was saying tongue in cheek that the grave they're showing of Elvis is not necessarily the one he's in.
Yeah, I think many of us have thought that.
Yeah, so they think it's a bit mixed up for not only security reasons. Well, that'd be the main reason, that security reasons, because, I mean, that's the reason he got moved there in the first place. They did all that because the original graveyard was not going to be safe, from people that wanted to get in there and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so that was a brilliant trip, and I really want to get back there. Once again, I want to go back a second time and be able to soak things in, It was a fantastic memory, that.
The process said Elvis lives behind Graceland in a small house.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well,
he's a mechanic.
I did go and knock on a few doors there, and I said, come on, mate, stop the bullshit. I want to have a jam. Stop fucking around. But the thing is, now he's been dead longer than he was alive.
True, very true. I used to do Elvis impersonations. I used to get up on stage and do 5 songs of Elvis and dressed up. I had a jumpsuit made. It cost me nearly $2,000 to get that made up.
Shit.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I've got a massive collection of stuff, mate. When you're down here next, where you come over to the house, I'll go through some stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just there's no one like him. There will never be anyone like him again. You can have impersonators, and I don't mind some of the impersonators, but at the end of the day, I watch his stuff all the time, all the live concert stuff, and no one did anything that he was doing. He was just so unique.
He was, yes, most definitely. So Outback Queensland.
Yeah, well, that was on the Round Australia trip. So about to cross the border. Yeah.
And there's the three Roadmasters.
Yeah. And if you notice, I've still got my old rim on then. And the guy over in the right-hand side, he's got the 19-inch rim, which I stole the idea of. but they took me for a ride around all the back roads of Queensland, to Rick's Garage. If anyone's in Queensland, you're going for a ride, Rick's Garage is just, you've got to go to that place. It's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, we got a picture taken. And believe it or not, I had a lady come up to me that was riding a Harley, came up to our table, and she said, "Oh," started talking about bikes. She goes, "Who's the guy travelling around Australia?" She was following me on my vlogs. Never heard of her. Just waltzed up, and then she does some vlogging of her own, and she wanted to get a picture and a chat. It was really good.
So, you know, I guess where I'm coming from is that even though you've only got like 161 subscribers on YouTube, because you have been such an Indian supporter and ambassador in Australia for the last 6 or 7 years, your name is actually quite well known in Australia within the Indian circles, and I guess in some ways probably also in America. I really believe that Indian Australia needs to put you up on a mantle. That's what I think personally.
Well, that's some very kind words, mate. I said the other day I don't take the pats on the back too well. I don't know. It's hard for me to accept at times, but I do appreciate it. Look, I've not only got the name of the Indian out there to maybe a lot of people that didn't know about it, and maybe they've brought some bikes because they saw it or whatever, but I've also pissed off a lot of people on the way. And that's not just including some riders that you find out their true colours when things start to go a little bit haywire. So, you know, there's a lot of those people. And then there's the ones that were in the hierarchy here in Australia that are gone now. And they did no justice to the name whatsoever. It was all the money. It was all about the money and not about the riding. Like I said, with the ambassadors they've got now, and I love, you know, Shane Jacobson. He was an ambassador. Mossy from Cold Chisel. Loved the guy. Met the guy. Saw him play live at the opening of the shop. Came out and sat on my bike. We were talking. I love his stuff. When was the last time you ever saw him riding? I just don't get it. It's okay to have an ambassador, but at least find out if they have some passion about that actual bike and about the brand and about the name and about the history. Don't just, you know, oh yeah, give me the check and she's a great bike. I'm not into that bullshit. Just be fair income about it, you know. So I don't know how it works. I mean, the IMRG thing works quite well over in Europe and it works over in America. It was a big flop here. They tried to start it. The Perth shop was responsible for getting the whole thing going. And they asked me for a lot of things like, you know, what do you want? I said, well, we need this, we need that. I said, can we do that, blah, blah, blah. And out of the 50 things that were, you know, all the riders wanted and requested, maybe one thing got done. That no one gave a shit. There was no passion. There was no drive behind it. So, you know, eventually after that shop closed down, I just backed off. I'm in good contact with the shop down here at Kenwick, Mark. They look after me. They're fantastic. And Mark and the boys. But at the same time, I don't do any group rides. I don't go on any Indian rides. No, I won't go down because there's generally too much friction and too much bullshit that goes on. And I'd rather stay away from that and just ride my ride and just keep promoting it as much as I can in a solo basis and with help with the likes of yourself.
And that's probably the best thing, I think, in being able to promote the brand is just be yourself. That's what Chris does. She is herself. She's a very eccentric individual, but she's herself. You know that's who she is. You know, she's not trying to be somebody that she's not.
Yeah. And you know what? I got canned a while back when all that Indian motorcycle record stuff was going on, because I got interviewed here on the local community radio station a couple of times, and we're talking about that. Now, I wasn't patting myself on the back or anything, but when I came back from that Minnesota ride in St. Paul on that thing, I came back with that idea. That was my. I'll put my own credit there. It was my idea to have the Indian motorcycle record ride, because we've got more than 400, 500 Indian motorcycles registered in WA alone. So we could smash that record, smash it out of the park. The shop ignored me. The hierarchies of Indian ignored me. I said, we have it here, the best shop in Australia. Do you imagine how big this would be? And completely ignored me. Chris came into the picture. Found out about her. She flew over here, was doing a musical event. I rode up to her hotel. She didn't have any transportation. I picked her up, took her down to the shop to meet the boys, all the rest of it. And she was getting involved with the IMRG. I said, well, nothing's getting done here. She says, what do you want done? I said, oh, you know, this. And I said, but I've got one big thing. And she said, oh, what? I said, world record attempt, blah, blah, blah. Went to over Minnesota, all that. And she went, I love it. She was the only person that gave me positive feedback and said, I see the big picture. I see the big picture, David. And I said, Chris, it's beyond my talents. I don't have that. I don't have the time. I don't have the ability to do that type of event. Can I hand that to you? That's all yours. She said, yeah. And I said, I'll help. Promote, we'll all help and whatever. But I said, you've got the talent. She's event manager and putting musical concerts together and all that sort of stuff. So when I handed it to her, all of a sudden it just went boom. She got it all happening. And the time and effort that she put into all that, little bits and pieces, you know, all the little prezzies that we're going to give out to the riders. And then she started getting canned for, why are you having it in Silverton? People didn't realise that the gratifications of organising a ride where you had to have the road closed off, the police had to be involved, the council had to approve. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know you had to have that type of isolated town. And she got all that going, and then of course COVID hit, and everything just. It was so much work that she put into it, and she had to sort of, you know, pick herself back up again and say, well, okay, what next? And that's what she's done. She goes off and does haircuts and the barber and biker, and those the vlogs that she does and all the rest of it. It's just fantastic. Yeah. You know, I mean, what an amazing woman.
Well, I think, mate, we come to the end of our live. We've done 2.5 hours, mate. You've done well.
Like I could talk underwater.
And you've had constant 13 to 15 people here the whole time through. There's been lots of people that have come through. So hopefully you get some more people coming to your channel. And I think, Kraken has said it a couple of times. He really thinks that you should be one of the Indian ambassadors for Australia. I think Chris Keeble is the other one. And
absolutely.
I think the two of you can really demonstrate to the world out there that this is how it should be when you're trying to promote a motorcycle brand. And, you know, again, it doesn't matter what motorcycle you ride as long as you're on two wheels. And like you said earlier, it's about riding your own ride. And I just want to say I appreciate you and I appreciate your channel. I appreciate your humor. I love the fact that you and I have got very similar tastes in music, obviously in motorcycles as well. And, you know, I think all of us out there should take a leaf from your book and really just focus on being yourself and just do what you feel like at the time when you're doing it, and then post it. None of this dicking around trying to make it all flashy, because that's not you.
Yeah.
That's not you. You know, you post it up and it's real, it's raw, and that's exactly what you are. You're real and you're raw, and you either like you or you don't. And it doesn't matter to you whether they don't like you. You are happy within your own skin. You're happy with your Roadmaster. You're happy with the 2 ladies in your life, and that's all that really matters.
Thank you very much, mate. It's I don't know what to say. I mean, yeah, I really do appreciate it. And like I said, you've been responsible for quite a few of my subs and bring people over to have a look and check it out. And I hope, and I'm sincere with everybody out there, that if I'm going to go through this later and see who I'm not sub to, see what you got going on in your vlogs. You can't watch everyone's vlog because you're sort of busy doing your own, but you get to as many as you like, and yeah, come and say hello by all means. And thanks again, mate. I really appreciate what you've done. And now that I've got a little bit used to this streaming thing, hopefully I may be able to do it to a few people who are also, you know, low in numbers or whatever. You can talk to them and got a story. You can do something like this. It'd be fantastic.
Excellent, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody that's been in the chat today. If you hadn't subscribed to Two Digby's One Indian, please make sure you go and subscribe to him. Go and show him some love and support. And I'm pretty sure he'll do the same for you. That's it from me. That's it from David. Have a good weekend, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. You're a champion.